Could this be the most controversial man in the Conservative Party today? He backs the death penalty and thinks some people who use food banks need help with budgeting.
Now, I believe the nasty, sneering and largely unfounded vitriol that Lee Anderson has faced highlights the hatred Britain's media and political class have for the working class.
I've been in Northern Ireland talking to parties there about the things that we need to fix. We're working through those. We're working through them hard, and we will work through them intensely with the EU. But we are by no means done. There is no deal that is done.
It's very hard to see how he can square this circle of problems that Brexit has brought about with the protocol.
15,000 ambulance workers walked out today, but ambulances did still attend the most severe life-threatening emergencies.
The Conservatives have not done this badly in this seat ever. They haven't done this badly in terms of share of the vote since 1997. And I think that just shows that people are turning away from the Conservatives.
And I implore you now to follow the logic of what you are all doing and give the Ukrainians the tools to finish the job. Give them the deep fire artillery systems, give them the tanks, give them the planes, because they have a plan. They know what they need to do, and my God, they've shown they have the skill and the bravery to do it.
Well, we want to see sensible targeted tax cuts that will boost self-employment, boost investment, help solve the problem of recruiting and retaining doctors and other skilled staff, and will add to the idea of growth. We're very pleased that the Prime Minister and the new Chancellor have now got growth as one of their big 5 aims, and indeed, out of the 5 aims, 3 of the aims are economic, and they're all really related to growth. That is exactly the right thing to do. But we're urging them to do rather more and not to rule out tax rate cuts, because we think they're going to be crucial, particularly to boost investment. Otherwise, we're going to have a very poor year for investment, which will lead to a very disappointing outturn on growth.
After a stint in the city, he landed one of the safest seats in the country, becoming a Conservative MP in 2010. He then worked his way up to the second most powerful political position in the country as Britain's first black Chancellor. Kwasi Kwarteng is one of those annoying people that are good at almost everything, except perhaps looking after our cash.
Well, it was a turbulent time. I mean, we can laugh about it, but we were trying to do a serious thing. We were trying to reduce the tax burden on this country, and we were caught in a real firestorm. And I think it's a shame what happened. I do regret some of the things that we did in terms of the speed. But I think the general direction in terms of lowering tax was right. The thing I would say about the whole EU debate, a bit of perspective, we were in this thing, we were in the EU for nearly 50 years, certainly before I was born, OK? And I think that a lot of it won't take 50 years to get the benefits, it shouldn't do. But having been this...
We're under pressure now.
Having been in it for 50 years, I think it was a lot to expect that immediately we left, suddenly everything would be hunky-dory.
The fact that the UK is the only major economy that is now not back at the level it was in 2019 is really quite striking, and prospects for the next few months are looking, again, very disappointing in both absolute and, most significantly here, relative terms. And what we are, I think, increasingly seeing, businesses are making this clear, the additional friction in our trade, the reduction to the size of our labour market, this is because of Brexit to a large extent, and that is having a real impact on our growth potential. We are evidently poorer than we would otherwise have been as a consequence of Brexit, and that's seeing that shift in opinion, and the public opinion polls now are very clear. The nation does regret the decision we took in 2016, and there's really quite a sizable number of people who would favour rejoining if the opportunity arose.
Pressure piles on the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, this time over the Northern Ireland deal. In the latest, Sunak has warned that more than 100 Conservative MPs could rebel over the post-Brexit Northern Ireland deal. Well, the UK PM is facing intervention by former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson as he calls for a tougher stance with Brussels. Sunak is attempting to strike a deal with the European Union to break the post-Brexit stalemate in Northern Ireland. British media, Sky News, cited a source close to Johnson that it would be a great mistake to drop the Northern Ireland Protocol bill. Earlier, Sunak, he met with Northern Ireland politicians. Negotiations for the Northern Ireland deal have been ongoing to improve the post-Brexit trading arrangements for the province.
Implausible promises don't win victories. I'll tell you what happens with impossible promises. You start with far-fetched resolutions. They are then pickled into a rigid dogma, a code. And you go through the years sticking to that, outdated, misplaced, irrelevant to the real needs, and you end in the grotesque chaos of a Labour council hiring taxis to scuttle around a city, handing out redundancy notices to its own workers.